I used to think my family was unbreakable, the kind of Southern family you see in movies. Sunday dinners, backyard laughter, way too much sweet tea, and a mother who always knew what everyone else should be doing with their lives. We weren't rich, but we had this unspoken pride in being close, like nothing could ever tear us apart. Except, apparently one missing necklace did. I'm Mia, I'm 29, and a few months ago I got completely cut off from my family. Blocked, ignored, wiped out like I never existed. And the worst part? It wasn't even for something I did. It was for something my mom did, and blamed on me. But let's start where it all began. The last normal, Sunday dinner. My family's house always smelled like cornbread and perfume. The table was long and crowded, filled with cousins, uncles, and enough gossip to fuel a Netflix series. I grew up in that house, sitting at the same oak table where my grandmother used to bless the food and remind us that family is forever. That night, I remember walking in with a bottle of wine and this weird, tight feeling in my chest. I couldn't explain it, but something felt off. My mom, Ellen, gave me that big southern smile she uses when guests arrive, not when her daughter does. Her voice was honeyed but distant. Oh, look who decided to show up. My cousin Lacey giggled. My aunt looked at me like I'd tracked mud on the carpet. It wasn't unusual for my family to tease me for being the free spirit. I'm the only one who left our small town, moved to Atlanta, and actually enjoyed living alone. No husband, no kids, just a tiny apartment, a cat named Oliver, and a job as a graphic designer. My mom thought all of that made me selfish. Dinner started as usual. Mashed potatoes, gossip about neighbors, the sound of my dad pretending not to hear half the things my mom said. I laughed, ate, smiled, but the room felt colder than usual. Conversations died when I spoke. My mom avoided eye contact. And then, it happened. By the way, my mom said, setting her fork down, "Does anyone know what happened to Grandma's necklace?" Everyone went quiet. It was a pearl heirloom, the one passed down from my grandmother to my mom, something she claimed to treasure more than anything. My aunt said she hadn't seen it in weeks. Lacey chimed in, "Didn't you say you wore it to church last month?" My mom sighed dramatically, like she was performing for an invisible camera. "Yes, but it's gone now. I've looked everywhere. It's not like it just walked off." Then she turned to me. "You wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Mia?" I blinked, confused. "Me? What are you talking about?" She tilted her head like a disappointed teacher. "Someone said they saw you wearing it in one of your little selfies. I guess you thought I wouldn't notice." For a second, I thought she was joking. I laughed nervously. "Mom, that's not funny." Her face didn't change. "It's not a joke," she said flatly. "You've always liked vintage things. Maybe you thought you could just borrow it without asking." My heart dropped. "Mom, no. That's crazy. I haven't even been in your room in months." My uncle muttered something under his breath. My cousin looked down at her plate. No one defended me. "It's just a necklace," I tried to say lightly, but my mom slammed her hand on the table. "It's not just a necklace. It's a family heirloom, Mia. You think you can do whatever you want, and we're just supposed to smile and forgive it because you're Sid difference?" I felt the sting of humiliation rush up my face. Everyone was staring at me. My dad said nothing. My throat tightened. I didn't take it. I whispered. My mom crossed her arms. "Then why did someone see you wearing it?" The answer hit me, the thrift store. I'd bought a similar pearl necklace a few weeks ago. It looked almost identical. I wore it to brunch and posted a picture. That had to be it. "Wait," I said quickly. "That wasn't Grandma's. I bought one from a thrift store downtown. I can even show you." She cut me off with a scoff. Always a story, always an excuse. And that was it. The tone. The eyes around the table. I was the villain now. Dinner ended in icy silence. I stood up, shaking, and muttered, "I'm not doing this." I walked out while my mom called after me. "That's right. Walk away like you always do." Outside, the night air felt like freedom and heartbreak at the same time. I sat in my car, staring at the porch lights flickering behind me. My phone buzzed, a text from my cousin. "Maybe just apologize. You know how your mom gets. Apologize for something I didn't do." I drove home that night, replaying every second, trying to convince myself it would blow over. Families fight, we always made up. That's what we did. But I was wrong. Because the next morning, I woke up to find myself completely erased, blocked from the family group chat, ignored by my cousins, and left staring at one final message from my aunt. "Your mom says you need space. Maybe it's for the best." And that's how it started, my quiet exile, over a rumor, a lie, and a necklace that wasn't even missing. But what I didn't know yet was that the necklace wasn't the real reason at all. It was just the excuse my mom needed to finally get rid of me. And that realization would change everything. You know that feeling when something doesn't add up, but everyone else acts like it does? That's where I was, sitting alone in my apartment, scrolling through photos of people who used to be my entire world, now pretending I didn't exist. At first, I told myself to wait it out. My mom was dramatic, sure, but she always cooled down, usually after a few Bible verses and some sweet tea. But a week went by, then two, nothing. No calls, no messages, not even a passive-aggressive meme in the family group chat. Then one morning, I tried calling my dad, straight to voicemail, so I texted him. "Dad, I didn't steal anything. You know that, right?" He replied hours later, with one line that felt like a knife. It's best if you don't come around for a while. That's when I realized this wasn't just a fight, it was exile. I called my best friend Jasmine that night. She's the kind of friend who doesn't sugarcoat anything. Girl, something's off, she said. People don't just cut off their own daughter over a necklace. What else happened? I didn't know. I really didn't. But something in me, maybe that quiet, stubborn part, decided I was done just sitting there feeling guilty for something I didn't do. So I did what any mildly unhinged woman with Wi-Fi and trauma does. I started digging. I scrolled through old Facebook photos, trying to find proof, anything that could clear my name, and that's when I noticed something weird. My mom had recently posted a photo of herself at church, smiling next to my aunt, and there it was, right around her neck, the missing necklace. At first, I thought maybe it was a different one, but when I zoomed in, my stomach dropped. There was a tiny dent in one of the pearls, shaped like a crescent moon. I remembered it because Grandma always said it looked like a kiss from heaven. It was the necklace, the same one I was accused of stealing. My heart started pounding so loud I could barely think. Why would she lie? I texted Jasmine the photo. Her reply came fast. Your mom didn't lose it. She lied. But why? That question haunted me. Why would a mother lie to destroy her own daughter's reputation? I couldn't sleep. I kept scrolling, and that's when I saw it. A comment from one of my mom's friends. Glad you got it back. I told you Mia would come around eventually. What the hell did that mean? My pulse was racing now. I started realizing this wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a setup. The next day, I tried calling again. No answer. Then I emailed. No reply. So I drove to my parents' house. It was 3 hours away, and my hands were shaking the entire drive. When I pulled into the driveway, everything looked exactly the same. Wind chimes, roses, that stupid home is where the heart is. Sign my mom loved, but my stomach twisted. It didn't feel like home anymore. I knocked on the door. No answer. I rang the bell. Finally, my dad opened it. He looked older, tired. He didn't hug me, didn't even smile, just said, Mia, you shouldn't be here. I need to talk to Mom, I said. He sighed, like I just asked for the moon. She's not ready. Not ready for what? For the truth? That got his attention. His eyes darted away. I stepped forward, lowering my voice. I saw the photo, Dad. She has the necklace. The one I supposedly stole? He froze, just for a second, but it was enough. That flinch, that tiny flicker of guilt. I pushed harder. She lied, didn't she? Why would she do that to me? He rubbed his temples. You don't understand your mother. She's been under a lot of stress. Stress? I snapped. So lying about me, destroying my relationship with everyone I love, that's stress? Mia, please, he said softly. Don't make this worse. Worse? My voice cracked. How could it possibly get worse than being abandoned by my own family? And then there she was. My mom appeared at the top of the stairs, calm as ever, holding a cup of tea like she hadn't just detonated my entire life. Mia, she said, her tone perfectly even, you weren't invited. I just stood there, staring up at her. You told everyone I stole from you. She didn't deny it, didn't even blink. So what if I did? She said finally. You embarrassed this family. You humiliated me when you turned down that job your uncle offered you. Everyone was asking what was wrong with you, why you couldn't just fit in for once. I felt my world tilt. That's what this is about? She stepped down one stair, her voice cold and shaking. You think you're better than us because you live in a city and work behind a computer? You think independence makes you strong? Well, it doesn't. It makes you selfish. I was trembling now. So you ruined my life to prove a point? My mom's lips tightened. You ruined your own life the day you stopped listening to me. Behind her, my dad stood silently, his eyes full of something like shame but not enough to make him move. That's when it hit me. The betrayal wasn't just hers. It was his too. He let her do this. He let me burn. I turned to leave, my throat burning, my vision blurry with tears. My mom called after me, her voice cutting through the air like a blade. Don't come back until you learn some respect. I walked out, heart hammering, realizing there was no respect she wanted from me, just obedience. That drive back felt like waking up from a lifelong dream. Every mile between us felt like shedding another layer of guilt, confusion, and manipulation. And for the first time, I started wondering who I was without them. But what I didn't know then was that the story wasn't over, because in just a few weeks, the truth about that necklace and my mom's lies would blow up in a way none of us saw coming. You ever reach that point where anger turns into something colder, like clarity? That's where I was. I wasn't crying anymore. I wasn't begging my mom to love me or my dad to stand up for me. I was just quiet and dangerous. Because I knew what she'd done, and I knew there had to be more. I couldn't shake the image of her standing there, so calm, so composed, while I was falling apart. It wasn't just about the necklace. It was never about the necklace. That was just her cover story. The real reason had to be buried deeper. A few days later, I was at my apartment when I got a text from my cousin Heather, one of the few who hadn't blocked me. I don't know what's going on, but your mom's been telling people you're unstable. Said you've been having breakdowns. Are you okay? Unstable. Breakdown. Those words hit me like a punch. My mom was painting me as the crazy daughter now. I took a screenshot of the message, heart pounding. Jasmine, my best friend, was the first person I called. Girl, this is a smear campaign, she said flatly. Your mom's trying to rewrite the story before you even get a chance to tell it. She was right, and the worst part? My mom was good at it. She'd spent her whole life controlling the family narrative, who was the hero, who was the villain, who got forgiven, and who got thrown out. So I started collecting receipts, screenshots, messages, posts, anything that could prove her lies. And then something happened. I'll never forget. One night, I got a random Facebook message from my mom's best friend, Carol, the kind of woman who always knew everyone's business. She wrote, Mia, I shouldn't be telling you this, but your mom showed me a jewelry appraisal form last month, said you pawned that necklace. My breath caught. What? Carol said she saw the paper with my name on it. But here's the twist, she said. The form looked old, like it had been filled out years ago. That's when I realized my mom must have used an old pawn receipt from when I sold a different necklace years ago to fake evidence that I'd stolen hers. My heart was racing so fast it felt like I couldn't breathe. She didn't just lie, she fabricated proof. I couldn't hold it in anymore. I drove straight to Jasmine's place at midnight. When I showed her the screenshots and explained what Carol said, she stared at me like I'd just dropped a bomb. Mia, she whispered, your mom's been planning this. It made sense now. The way she'd acted that night at dinner, so rehearsed, so sure. She'd been building this story for weeks, maybe months, waiting for the perfect time to destroy me publicly, with proof ready in case anyone doubted her. It was pure, strategic humiliation. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized this wasn't about a piece of jewelry. It was about control. My mom couldn't handle that I'd stopped needing her, so she had to make me the villain to justify cutting me off. That realization burned, but it also fueled me. The next Sunday, I decided to test something. I created a new Facebook account under a fake name and followed my mom's page. Within an hour, I found something that made my blood run cold. She'd posted another photo, same necklace, same smile, but this time the caption said, "Some things belong in the right hands. You can't build a family on lies." The comments were full of sympathy. You're so strong, Ellen. Family always comes first. Praying for your daughter to find her way back. It was like watching a cult worship its leader. I felt sick. But then, buried in the comments, one person stood out. My cousin Noah. He wrote, "That's funny, Aunt Ellen, because I remember seeing that necklace at your house way before Mia was accused." Within minutes, his comment vanished, deleted. And that's when I knew she was watching. My mom saw everything, controlled everything, deleted anything that threatened her version of reality. I sent Noah a private message right away. He replied almost instantly. "Yeah, I got your back. I saw that necklace at your mom's house weeks before the whole drama started. She even showed it to my mom and said she was going to teach you a lesson." That sentence stopped my breath. Teach me a lesson. This wasn't a heat-of-the-moment fight. This was calculated. She'd planned to isolate me, humiliate me, and force me into submission, all while pretending to be the victim. And she almost got away with it. Because when a mother lies, people believe her. No one questions a mom who says, "My daughter's troubled." But this time I had proof. I wasn't sure what I'd do with it yet, but I knew one thing. I wasn't going to stay silent anymore. What I didn't realize was that the next move I made would turn the entire family against her, and for once, they'd finally see who the real liar was. I didn't sleep that night. My mind kept replaying Noah's message. She said she was going to teach you a lesson. The next morning, I woke up with one goal: end the manipulation. I didn't want revenge. I wanted the truth, and for once, I wanted it out loud. I spent the entire day printing screenshots, text messages, Facebook comments, every lie, every piece of proof my mom had manufactured. I slipped them all into a folder. My hands were shaking the whole time, but it wasn't fear anymore, it was adrenaline. Then, I called my dad. "Dad, I need to talk to you," I said. He sighed, that tired, heavy sigh that always came before he said something disappointing. "Mia, you know how your mom gets, just let it go. Things will settle down." "Settle down?" I snapped. She framed me for stealing. She told people I was unstable. "Dad," she made fake proof. Silence. When he finally spoke, his voice cracked a little. "Your mom said you'd say that." That broke me for a second, that he'd already been coached on how to handle me, like I was some wild liar trying to twist the story. "Dad," I whispered, "I have proof, and I'm bringing it to the anniversary party tonight." He didn't say a word, then quietly, "Please don't make a scene." But I was done being the quiet one. That night, I pulled up to my parents' house. The driveway was packed, cousins, aunts, uncles, all laughing and drinking on the porch. I stood at the door for a moment, listening to the sound of their voices. Voices that used to feel like home. When I walked in, everything stopped. Forks froze in midair. My mom turned from the kitchen, wine glass in hand, her smile fading fast. "Well," she said smoothly, "look who decided to show up." Her tone was sharp enough to slice glass. I smiled, calm, too calm, and said, "Don't worry, Mom, I'm not here to ruin the party, just to tell the truth." I set my folder on the dining table. What's that? My aunt asked, trying to sound casual. Evidence, I said, about the necklace, about everything. My mom's face went pale. She moved toward me, her voice shaking but steady enough for the audience. Mia, stop this. You're embarrassing yourself. Oh, you mean like when you told everyone I was mentally unstable? I said loud enough for the whole room to hear, or when you faked a pawn receipt with my name on it? The entire table fell silent. My dad's fork clinked against his plate. My mom laughed, that nervous, performative laugh she used when she was losing control. She's lying. She's making things up again, just like she always does. That's when I pulled out my phone and pressed play. An audio recording filled the room, a voicemail from her best friend Carol, saying she saw the fake receipt and that mom had shown it off. Her exact words echoed through the speakers. Ellen, I told you, this is going too far. She's still your daughter. Gasps. Someone dropped a glass? My mom froze, her face drained of color, her composure cracking in front of everyone. Where did you get that? She hissed. From someone who still has a conscience, I said quietly. I looked around the room. You all believed I stole from my own grandmother. You erased me. You called me unstable, all because my mother couldn't stand losing control. My dad finally spoke, voice shaking. Ellen, tell me that's not true. She didn't answer, just stood there, trembling, gripping her wine glass so hard it looked like it might shatter. You said she needed to learn respect, my aunt muttered. You said she pawned the necklace. My mom snapped, finally showing the person I'd always known she was. She turned her back on this family. She humiliated me in front of everyone when she turned down your brother's job. I raised her, and she spits in my face. I cut her off. No, Mom, you raised me to be scared. You raised me to apologize for things I didn't do, but not anymore. Then, I reached into the folder one last time and placed a photo in the center of the table. It was a screenshot of my mom wearing the necklace before it was ever reported missing. Proof. Undeniable. The entire room fell dead quiet. You could feel the shift, years of manipulation crumbling in seconds. My dad stood up, his face pale. Ellen, he said softly, what have you done? She didn't answer, just turned away, walked into the kitchen, and slammed the door so hard a picture frame fell off the wall. That was it. The truth was out. I left that house without looking back, the sound of whispered voices and awkward silence following me down the driveway. As I drove away, my hands were shaking, not from fear this time, but from release. For the first time in my life, I didn't care if they hated me. I wasn't their scapegoat anymore. What I didn't expect, though, was how fast the fallout would spread, or that by the next morning, my mom's perfect little image would start to crack in front of the entire town. By the next morning, my phone was blowing up. Missed calls, voicemails, texts, from numbers I hadn't seen in months. Turns out, the truth spread faster than I could have imagined. My aunt posted a vague, "Some people aren't who they seem" status on Facebook, and within hours, the whole family group chat exploded. Screenshots of the necklace photo, the audio recording, everything was circulating. And my mom? She was nowhere to be found. I scrolled through Facebook and saw it. Her page deactivated. Her perfect online persona, the one she'd spent years curating, was gone overnight. I should have felt satisfied, vindicated, but all I felt was empty. That's when the knock came. I opened my door to find my dad standing there, eyes red, hair disheveled, like he hadn't slept all night. He was holding a small box. Mia, he said quietly, can I come in? For a moment, I almost said no. I almost closed the door the way they'd all closed theirs on me. But something in his face stopped me. He sat down on my couch, staring at the box in his hands like it might burn him. She left, he said finally, packed her bags and went to stay with Carol. She said she needs to get away from all the lies. He let out a bitter laugh. The irony, right? What's in the box? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He slid it across the table toward me. Your grandmother's necklace. I froze. He continued, it was hidden in your mom's sewing cabinet, under a pile of receipts and old checks. I found it last night. My chest tightened, seeing it, that delicate gold chain, the tiny sapphire pendant. It was like being punched in the heart. Years of gaslighting, humiliation, and anger condensed into one tiny object. I picked it up carefully. She did all that for this? Dad rubbed his face. It wasn't about the necklace, Mia. It was about control, about being right. Your mom can't handle being wrong, especially not about family. He looked up at me, eyes wet. I should have listened to you. I'm so sorry. It was strange. I'd imagined this moment so many times, my dad finally believing me, and yet, it didn't feel victorious. It felt quiet, like the end of a storm. Before he left, he said something that stuck with me. She's already spinning the story. Told Carol you hacked her phone, that you staged the recording. I almost laughed. Of course she did. My mother would rather rewrite reality than admit defeat. After he left, I sat there, holding that necklace, thinking about how fragile family ties really are. One lie, one person's ego, and everything can unravel. But then, things got darker. Later that week, I started getting strange calls, blocked numbers, silence on the other end. Then one night, I came home to find my front door slightly open. I froze. My heart slammed against my ribs. I always lock my door. Always. I stepped inside slowly. The lights were off, but something felt off. My bookshelf, the one by the door, had been moved slightly. And sitting right in the middle of my coffee table was the necklace box. Open, empty. The chain was gone. I felt my throat go dry. My first thought was, she wouldn't. But then I remembered, this is my mother we're talking about. The woman who lied to everyone, fabricated proof, and turned her entire family against her own daughter. The woman who'd once said, if you ever turn on me, you'll regret it. I didn't call the police. I didn't even tell my dad. I just locked every door and sat there all night, staring at that empty box, listening for footsteps. The next morning, a text came from an unknown number. Some things belong to the family. You should have stayed quiet. No name, no emojis. But I knew that tone. It was her. I blocked the number, packed a small bag, and for the first time I did what I should have done years ago. I left town. I didn't tell anyone where I went. I changed my number. I even dyed my hair. And you know what? It was terrifying at first. But then something incredible happened. Peace. Real peace. No fake apologies, no manipulation, no pretending to be the crazy daughter. Just silence, space, and the slow realization that blood doesn't equal love. It's been 6 months now. I haven't heard from her again, but sometimes when I check my mail, I swear I see that gold chain glinting in my mind, a reminder of everything I lost and everything I gained by walking away. So yeah, that's how I got cut off by my own family. Not because I betrayed them, but because I finally told the truth and refused to be controlled by it anymore. And the scariest part? I don't think she's done. Because sometimes at night, when the wind hits my window just right, I still hear that faint little click. Like the sound of a door unlocking.